Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about the death of Xbox because I truly believe that 2026 is the year that they just get shut down. I mean, it just feels like things get worse and worse and worse. The console isn't selling. The games aren't selling. Game Pass has had like 15 price increases. Even the president of Xbox, where is Phil Spencer? Put that guy on a milk carton. I haven't even seen that dude in public in like 9 months. This is just a ghost town. But today specifically, I wanted to talk about the evidence that I feel like bust points at the fact that this is the last leg of Xbox. It's done so. I don't even think they're going to have that next-gen console they're claiming exists. I think this is the end of the end. But let me break it down. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, part of my inspiration for this is honestly that last night during the Game Awards, everybody was there except Xbox. I mean, there were some like Xbox executives sitting in the chairs and stuff, but for the most part, you know, there was a big segment about the next big PlayStation 5 exclusive, Saros. That honestly looked fantastic. Now, Nintendo didn't announce anything first party, but there was a lot of stuff that's clearly being put to the Nintendo Switch 2, stuff like Pragmata, a bunch of big AAA stuff made announcements that even if we saw them before, they announced they're also coming to Nintendo Switch 2. It's funny that the one award that Xbox won was Games for Impact for South of Midnight, and they came on stage and said, please buy the game on PlayStation. How bizarre was that? But that's not it, right? That's not everything. What was strange is that they didn't really bother actually showing their games. They tweeted stuff out during E3 last night, or sorry, during the Game Awards last night. They tweeted out stuff like, hey, get Gears of War E-Day 2026. There was also this strange thing where they in line, while there was actually the pre-show of it, some Xbox executives were talking about what their plans are for next gen, what they're doing in 2026. And they said, oh yeah, don't worry, we're going to be talking about Fable and Forza Horizon 6. We got a lot of stuff shipping next year. I'll tell you that Playground games will be at our next Developer Direct, and we got more stuff next year to show, and we can't just put it in one show, right? Okay, sounds good, sounds fluffy, but a lot of Xbox fans feel a lot of doubt. Xbox, don't worry, good times are coming. They say this every single year of every single generation. We could probably expect more redundancies, more studio closures, and everything else instead. More announcements of games going to other platforms. You know, it is wild to consider the fact that even if you're the biggest Xbox fan, what do you actually have as a reason to stay on Xbox? Almost everybody I know that actually cares about Xbox at this point has just gone to PC. You can play the games better, more customized, and a lot of times cheaper on there because it's better to just buy it on Steam than it is to get the expensive $30 a month Xbox Game Pass. But I think there is a trickle down to this. This is the fact that at this point, nobody is buying any Xbox games. That green stink ain't coming off. I saw this report that apparently Microsoft is pretty much freaking out about Black Ops 7. They spent almost $70 billion to get Activision. This is the first game that was fully developed by Microsoft. This is their Call of Duty, and it is the lowest selling one ever. The sales fell off a cliff, and apparently internally, they're saying, look, anything, we may merge studios, we may do mass layoffs, we need to completely rethink the monetization models within the franchise. Now, I'm taking this as two separate things. They raised the price of Xbox Game Pass specifically because they wanted to put Call of Duty in it. They said straight up, hey, we're going to boost the price of Game Pass, but you're going to get Call of Duty day one. It seems like that didn't work. That did not boost the sales. That didn't boost the player numbers. Straight up, it just seems like nobody got Black Ops 7. And it seems like nobody's interacting with those crappy AI slap microtransactions. Very much so. They've publicly talked about it. Microsoft is all in on AI. They want AI to make all their games. They've even said they're trying to work on like special engines where essentially it will even backport their games. It'll take old Xbox games and literally just auto put them on new systems for them. Microsoft's big idea is that instead of hiring good developers or actually making good games, just have AI slop fill up your entire storefront. Make boring derivative dribble and hope people accidentally buy it. Maybe if there's zero developer costs, none of our games will bomb, even if they don't sell. This is such an ignorant, obviously stupid methodology. I mean, it is just so absolutely archaically dumb. Only a company could come up with it, right? Here's the other part of it, though. I wanted to talk about the fact that Black Friday happened recently and everything sold like crazy. There was actually a bunch of reports that essentially PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch sold out pretty much everywhere. Nintendo Switch did all sorts of deep discounted sales for a lot of their games and some of their controllers, whereas PlayStation 5 did deep discounts all over the place. They took like, I think, $80 or $100 off some of the systems. PS5 Pro had a huge price cut and stuff like that. Obviously, Black Friday is kind of that big financial blowout. That's when you really sort of say, hey, everybody buy stuff and get all your Christmas presents now for, 50% off, whatever the hell, right? What's funny is that Xbox did 0 discounts. They did not mark down their games. They didn't make a special cheaper version of Game Pass. Hey, buy a year of Game Pass for half price. They did nothing. Nothing. And you know what happened? Nobody bought an Xbox at all on Black Friday. The Xbox console's sales numbers are so it's a bloodbath. There's no other way to say it. This is literally like walking in and there's just a crime scene and you're just like, what happened? What happened to Xbox? They got outsold by a toy. Xbox hardware was outsold by a little known family video game console called Nex Playground. They got outsold by a toy. Like, we're at a point where Xbox can't even compete against toys. They're competing against unknown brands. What is a Nex Playground? Literally never heard about this in my life. And apparently that has more market appeal than Xbox. Now, for a long time, the argument has been that Xbox doesn't need to be as big as PlayStation. Xbox doesn't need to be this mega juggernaut. A lot of people kept saying that as long as Xbox hovered around 20 million players, that's profitable enough, right? Xbox kept claiming, we're in the green, everything's profitable, everything's fine. But with the massive studio closures, the constant layoffs, and going into the red quarter by quarter by quarter by quarter, logic and basic math determines these games probably aren't going to sell on Xbox. And I think Microsoft is going to start to think, why are we making consoles? Why are we making hardware? Why are we spending these microchips and hardware and factories and stuff to make something that makes absolutely zero money? We can just put this stuff on PlayStation where it actually sells. We can have our developers maybe focus more on porting stuff to the Nintendo Switch 2. I'd probably buy a Gears of War game on Nintendo Switch 2. I would definitely buy Halo on Nintendo Switch 2. Why even bother putting stuff on Xbox when that's the one place it does not sell? Now, when I say Xbox is dead, I specifically mean the hardware. I do think that next year there's going to be a ton more studio layoffs. There's going to be a ton more closures. But I think the caveat is I think they're going to do a spinoff. I think they're going to make Xbox Game Studios live on. I do think that some of these studios, I don't think that Xbox really cares about massive profitability. It's the massive losses that really concern them, right? I think that if they can make this stuff even at a slight loss, but hey, we're in the video game sector, I think it'll stay around. This stuff is unprofitable if they're also trying to make controllers and shipping consoles to Japan that literally just sit there for years and years and years unused. But if this is going to PlayStation and selling a couple million copies, it's going to PC and selling a couple million copies, maybe that's closer to breaking even, right? I'm just at a point where, as much as Xbox keeps claiming they're excited for their next-gen deals, their next-gen hybrid console development, I think Steam Machine's going to come out in March and just slaughter the Xbox. We're going to go from like low single digits to so deep into the red, you're going to ask how the heck they'll ever keep up. This is just some off-the-cuff thoughts, though. How do you feel about the current state of Xbox, and are you as pessimistic as I am? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.